Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Cozy Christopher. Today we're going to Atropos in the first exclusive for PlayStation 5. I mean, it's not the first, but it's the first major exclusive for PlayStation 5. We've been waiting for PlayStation to kind of get active since launch, and other than Miles Morales, which was an amazing game, this is the first actual game that you would expect from a next generation console for PlayStation 5. Definitely what we've been waiting for. This game basically reminds us of what PlayStation is capable of, and it's not to excuse PlayStation for some of the different, I guess, silence, if you want to put it that way, over the last couple months, while Xbox has kind of been mopping the floor with them with all of their activity and expansion of Game Pass and what have you. But let's jump into this Returnal. This game is amazing to start it off. I mean, it is exactly what you would expect from a company that focuses solely on exclusives. This game from the start pulls you in, and it basically it has you wondering from the start of the game, what in the hell is going on? And I mean, from a player like myself, which I've said several times, I'm a very story-driven person when it comes to gaming. This story immediately puts you in a fog. It basically sets the exact, the exact feeling or emotion that it wants you to have as you kind of awake for the first time and you're trying to figure out what just happened, where am I, and what's next. As you play through the story, you start to see some really pretty, like, super well designed, cool stuff. I mean, the world of Atropos it's almost what you would expect from a space thriller, if you will, when you kind of land on another planet and you kind of have this mixture of Avatar, and it's dark, it's ever changing, and you kind of making your way through this, strange, very strange alien technology, and it does a really good job of unfolding the game as you kind of, progress further into the story. So what is Returnal? I guess, for lack of better terms, we're going to call it's about a space captain named Celine. And Celine has traveled to Atropos on her own command, whereas, as you saw in the beginning, it's forbidden. But she's following this signal, and she's trying to figure out why this signal is so familiar to her. So she finds herself on this strange planet after waking from the accident, and now she's kind of running around on this strange planet, going from place to place to try to figure out why she's here and what's happening. And as you play through the game, you're kind of unraveling the story, and you're starting to realize, and I'm trying not to give things away here, but you're in a time loop, and every time you die, you wake right back up and you start all the way over again. But the interesting thing is that the world has changed since the last time you played it. So when you die, you wake up and the map is completely different. And so far, from what I can tell, the basics of the game is that you have to survive long enough to progress in the story. And if you die, then they bring you back to the beginning.
Crash. Again. Astra!
So let's talk about the action and gameplay. The gameplay and shooting reminds me of freaking Contra from back in the day. And I tell you, this is fun. It's very challenging. You can't change the difficulty settings on this game. You kind of play it, how it's designed to play. It's supposed to get more and more difficult as you survive longer. As you survive longer, you get better firearms and you get better perks for those firearms. If you can sustain giving damage and taking out enemies without taking damage, you get what's called adrenaline. And as your adrenaline gets stronger, you get more enhanced, perks, if you will, for lack of better terms. But the firing mechanisms are super cool. If you hold the left trigger down halfway, it kind of zooms in. If you hold the left trigger down all the way, it changes the firing mode. So you go from like your standard style mode to the alternate fire mode, and each firearm has an alternate mode, as they call it. So that mechanism is super cool, and you actually feel it in the triggers for the PlayStation 5. Of course, with the new controller, you can definitely feel the adaptive triggers working. So this part took me a little bit to figure out, but about 85% of the things you find in the game, you don't get to keep if you die. So the different firearms and the different perks that you build up through adrenaline and different things like that will disappear. But however, there are forms of technology that once you have them going forward when you wake up, such as this tool here, but also certain levels of your firearms. When you get your firearms to certain levels, the next time you encounter those, they'll be that way going forward. And there's other little perks like that continue on as well. But for the most part, all of the firearms and different things that you unlock throughout your gameplay will disappear. You do get hints as far as what's happening in the world, and you'll have these little logs that you can find where Celine's kind of recorded a message. At first, it's out to her command, and then she realizes that she's by herself, and so she starts to have messages for herself. And that is very interesting as you start to get through that portion of the story. But you do have these little hints that will help you kind of figure out the story as you go.
Returning.
The monsters that you fight, for lack of better terms, they do get more difficult as you survive longer. And that's really cool because as your suit integrity, as they call it, begins to be stronger and you have more health, you start to see more powerful creatures. But, all in all, this is a really fun game. It's really well designed. It's beautiful. And the story is amazing. And this is definitely what you expect from PlayStation when it comes to an exclusive. Yeah, just an amazing game. The experience is amazing. Not much more to say about it. So after literally 27 days of not touching my PlayStation 5, it is definitely worth the purchase to pick this up. It's a phenomenal game, but I'll tell you, after playing my Xbox daily and getting games for free on Game Pass, it was a really hard pill to swallow to pay $79.99 for this game. Even though it is an amazing game, Game Pass is really changing mindsets of what you should pay for a video game. And although this is definitely worth $79.99 for the digital deluxe version, it's still a hard pill to swallow, knowing that Game Pass will have their exclusives for free on day one. So that's it for me. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Look forward to chatting with you all in the comments. Stay cozy in that crazy world, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.